Welcome to my next UFC predictions video as we have UFC 319 this Saturday, August 16th. Just going to give my predictions for the main card. And remember, as always, that the card is subject to change. And you can see this card, this event, on ESPN Plus for $79.99. However, in 2026, the UFC is actually moving to Paramount Plus Premium. And as it stands right now, what they've announced is all you have to do is pay the monthly fee for Paramount, which right now stands at $12.99 a month. Or if you want to do it annually, $119.99 a month as it stands right now. And that's all you have to pay to watch all the UFC events that they have. Plus, you get to watch Dexter Original Sin and Dexter Resurrection and all the other stuff that they have on Paramount Premium. So sign me up because I'm a big fan of Paramount. Not that I watch anything else really on there, but Dexter is like my life. So sign me up. I was already watching it for Dexter anyway. So having the UFC on there and not having to pay a super high, $69 or $79 charge for each pay-per-view is definitely a win for us fans. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section about the UFC's move to Paramount Plus Premium. Before I get into my predictions, though, I just want to cover a few other things. If you're a fan of the UFC and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, if you like my fight reactions, if you like my fight predictions video, I would love if you would hammer fist that like button to help out with the algorithm, because sometimes it can be tough. Share this video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on my predictions, your predictions, any future fights that you want to see, any future fight predictions, your thoughts on the UFC moving to Paramount Plus Premium. Are you sad? Are you a fan of ESPN? I don't watch anything else on ESPN. Used to be a big sports fan, but now I really all I care about is the UFC. So YouTube you can watch pretty much everything on. So that's what I watch, but I definitely want to watch my fights, and not having to pay for pay-per-views anymore in 2026 is a big win for us fans. And then remember, as always, I react to fights as well. Come back to this channel about an hour after the event is over with. The plan is to have my reaction to the main event of the evening. Plans can change. They can give me a copyright claim, which then it takes 48 hours from when I dispute it for that video to be available. If that happens, I'll pivot to the co-main event most likely, or the featured fight. Hopefully no other ones happen, otherwise I'll have to go to the next best thing. And at the end of this video, with about 20 seconds left, if you're unfamiliar with this channel, I'll put some of my crazy recent fight reactions, such as Joshua Van versus Brandon Royval, and then of course Ilia Topuria versus Charles Bronc Oliveira, two fights that a lot of people liked on this channel. So make sure that you watch those videos. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get over 100,000 subscribers. Yes, I know I set my goals high. Join the team, share a damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV. Kicking things off in the flyweight division, we have Tim Elliott moving back down to flyweight to face Kai Asakura. It seems like Tim Elliott has been in the UFC for like 20 years. He hasn't, but I remember when he fought Demetrius Johnson. It seems like that was 20 years ago. And of course, Kai Asakura is coming off of his UFC debut, where he lost a title fight to Alexandre Pantoja. Tim Elliott is obviously the older fighter. He loses a lot of fights, but then wins some fights. Kai Asakura is really good, really fast. He's going to have a reach advantage. He's the younger fighter, and a slight height advantage against Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott can go for takedowns. I'm not as familiar with both of these guys as I am with other guys on this card. If Tim Elliott can get a lot of takedowns and put the pressure on Kai Asakura, there is a way for him to win. With that said, though, I think he gets knocked out in the first round or submitted, knocked out. He gets finished in the first round by Kai Asakura. I like Asakura. He's a good fighter. He just has to fight the guy, one red-hot fighter right now in Alexandre Pantoja. But I think Kai Asakura gets the job done and moves on to a bigger fight in his next fight. So again, I'm going with Kai Asakura. In the middleweight division, we have Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. Jared Cannonier, pretty solid and tough fighter. Michael Venom Page, a very unorthodox fighter. He doesn't throw a lot, but the shots that he does throw will potentially knock you out. You know that Jared Cannonier throws more strikes. Michael Venom Page looks for that one big strike sometimes, or that one big combination. I don't know if Jared Cannonier is going to be able to deal with Michael Venom Page. He's going to have a height disadvantage, 6'3" versus 5'11". And then, of course, you have Michael Venom Page with the reach advantage of 79 inches to about 78 inches if you round up. So with the height and reach advantage, and people typically don't do well against Michael Venom Page, unless Jared Cannonier decides that he's going to wrestle in this fight, which he's not normally known for that, I think Michael Venom Page is going to get the job done and win on the judges' scorecards, although I'd like to see him knock some people out in this UFC run. But I am going to pick Michael Venom Page to beat Jared Cannonier, unless Jared Cannonier goes for a bunch of takedowns, but I don't necessarily see that happening. Next up in the welterweight division, we have Jeff Hands of Steel Neal versus Carlos Prates of the Fighting Nerds. Carlos Prates, of course, is coming off of that loss to Ian Machado Gary, but he's really good. So what? He drinks, he smokes cigarettes, so what? Jeff Neal's a good fighter. He's just he's not, I guess he's not really that old. He's 34. I actually thought he was like 37. This fight could be a lot closer, and it actually might be harder to predict. Obviously, Prates is going to be having the height advantage as well as the reach advantage. Does that always mean anything? Absolutely not. With that said, I just have to go with the more hotter fighter, Carlos Prates. Even though he's coming off of a loss, he does really good in a lot of fights, aside from the Ian Machado Gary fight. But he was coming back in that fight at the end, so I'm going to pick Carlos Prates to beat Jeff Neal. I think that's everybody's pick. I mean, I wouldn't count Jeff Neal out because he certainly has hands of steel, but I just don't think he's going to beat Carlos Prates. And then in the co-main event of the evening, in the featherweight division, this might be a number one contender fight. We have Lerone Murphy, who's actually undefeated with a no contest, against a guy making his UFC debut, Aaron Pico. Now, to be honest with you, I don't know a lot about Aaron Pico. I watched what I could of him, but it was only a highlight reel of Aaron Pico, so I've seen a bunch of good highlights. From what I've seen, he has really good strikes. He has really good strikes to the body, like with the left hand, and then he throws overhand rights a lot. So I like what I did see of Aaron Pico. Lerone Murphy, since he's come to the UFC, from what I've watched of Lerone Murphy, I haven't been overly impressed with him, but he seems to get the job done by decision, which before he got to the UFC, he was finishing guys a lot. He does implement some takedowns sometimes, but surprisingly, he didn't do any against Josh Emmett. I don't remember if he actually didn't do any at all or he just didn't get any successful takedowns. I don't quite remember that. It's been a while since I've watched that fight, and it's kind of out of my mind right now. I'm not sure how good of a wrestler Aaron Pico is because I've seen him take people down. Usually when they're dazed, he takes people down, which might necessarily not be the best thing. But I do think in this fight that Aaron Pico is going to get the job done. However, a lot of these people that have been coming to the UFC lately from other promotions with a lot of hype don't necessarily look that good. So I don't know. But I'm going to go with Aaron Pico. I'm just more impressed of what I've seen from him. Lerone Murphy's a good fighter. But, I mean, I don't know. I just want Aaron Pico to win. With most far as injury or whatever's wrong with him, I think this could be a potential title shot. But, of course, you got Jean Silva versus Diego Lopez, which I don't know if that'll be a title. If Silva wins, it'll be a title shot for him, I think, against Volk. But I don't think Diego Lopez would get another title shot if he wins. So, or that was a title opportunity, actually. So I'm going to go with Aaron Pico. Maybe that's not a popular decision, but just based on what I've seen of Aaron Pico, I am impressed with his striking, but he might come overhyped. And in the main event of the evening, the middleweight championship is on the line when the undefeated challenger, Khamzat Chimaev, faces the fighting champion, Dricus du Plessis, in a fight that I've been really waiting for once it was announced. I'm super hyped for this fight. I'm pretty much 50-50 on this fight. I mean, I have a prediction, but ultimately, even though I might say some things, I'm 50-50. I could see either guy winning this fight, which may not be a popular opinion to some of you, but we know how good Khamzat Chimaev is. He's relentless with his wrestling. He really closes the distance fast and grabs a hold of you. Just ask Robert Whittaker, and could just squeeze you and make you submit. Ask Robert Whittaker. He's really good. We know how good he is. In the first round, If you can withstand Khamzat Chimaev in that first round or avoid the takedown altogether, you obviously increase your chances of beating this guy. But he has not been beaten yet. Now, it was a close fight against Gilbert Burns, and it ultimately ended up being a close fight against Kamaru Usman. Some would say that fight was a draw. I mean, both guys took the fight on short notice. Kamaru Usman is a true welterweight, in my opinion, and he moved up in weight, which I don't think he should have done. I like the fact that he took on Khamzat Chimaev, but ultimately I would have probably told him not to take that fight. But he did, and he lost. But the problem with Khamzat in this fight, he's got to deal with potentially getting sick. He said he's not leaving the house unless he's training right now because he gets sick really easy. And he has to make 185 pounds. He doesn't get that 1 pound over to 186. He has to make 185 pounds. And that might be difficult for him to do. And we know that there's cardio issues. The longer the fight goes, I think the better chance that Dricus du Plessis has. Dricus du Plessis, some argue that he lost to Sean Strickland the first time. You know, it was a close fight. I'm okay with either way, but it was a close fight. He's looked really good since then in a fight against Israel Adesanya, and of course the rematch against Sean Strickland, which I just looked at the stats from that fight, and I was kind of baffled that it was closer in strikes than it was. I mean, he got the leg kicks or the body shots, but the significant strikes to the head or whatever were like 140 something to 120 something. I thought du Plessis got like 200 or something like that. I mean, he threw more, but Strickland landed almost as much. Not quite as much, but it was closer than I thought. But obviously, du Plessis won that fight, and he's looked really good. I know at times he could look bad, and people wonder how he's so good when he should be easily beaten with what he does in the octagon. We know that he's good at striking, he's good at grappling, and he can wrestle, so that's a plus. He's well-rounded in the octagon. He's going to have to prove that he can stop Khamzat Chimaev, or he's going to have to withstand the early takedown and survive and let Khamzat potentially gas him out. I say Khamzat will gas out, and then all of a sudden he'll have this miraculous, awesome cardio in this fight. But like I said before, the longer this fight goes, I think du Plessis has a better chance to win this fight. And I think he's not going to get ragdolled like previous opponents of Khamzat Chimaev. He's not going to get at least first round ragdolled like Kamaru Usman did. And I don't think he's going to get grabbed right away and taken down right away by like Robert Whittaker did. It could happen, but I don't think he will. I think he'll plan for that and have something like a flying knee or something like that. Who knows? But ultimately, this, like I said, is a fight where I'm 50-50 on. I'm happy that Dricus du Plessis wanted this fight because I think everybody else would probably try to duck this guy. My prediction, again, I'm 50-50, but if I have to pick a fighter, gun to my head, I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm picking Dricus du Plessis. Now, obviously, a lot of people know I like Dricus du Plessis a lot. I just think he's going to win this fight. I don't think Khamzat Chimaev is going to be undefeated his whole career, and he's going to have some losses, and I think this is going to be his first loss. To you that are Khamzat Chimaev fans, I just think Dricus du Plessis creates a matchup problem for Khamzat Chimaev, and Dricus du Plessis is going to win the fight. Now, I highly expect him to lose the fight, and he'll get ragdolled like Robert Whittaker kind of did, and, you know, who did Khamzat? Kevin Holland and Kamaru Usman did, at least in the first round. We'll see. It should be interesting. I mean, the shorter the fight goes, I'm happy because then I have less of a chance of getting a copyright claim. But those are my predictions for UFC 319. So, again, if you're a fan of the UFC and you like my prediction videos as well as my reaction videos and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash that like button, or sometimes I call it hammer fist that like button. Please do so. It definitely gets the video out there more than you think. Share this video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on my predictions for this card. Your predictions, future fight predictions, your thoughts on the UFC going to Paramount Plus Premium, anything else that you want to add. Remember, I'll react to all these fights on the main card. Come back to the channel for my first reaction about an hour after the main card is over with. If there's a copyright claim, which can happen, I'll post something in the community tab, and then I'll have to pivot to the next best fight or the co-main event of the evening. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get over 100,000 subscribers. Yes, I know I set my goals high. Join the team, assure your damn support, and be a part of something special, and you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.